election, but it looks like the continued meltdown on the left is not going to go anywhere. Politico just put out this article tonight talking about how David Brock, who is a Clintonite, who is in charge of many big super PACs, one of the more notable ones being Media Matters, basically he is looking to, quote, kick Trump's ass. He's gathering huge billionaire donors in Palm Beach during the inaugural weekend in January. And it says here, what better way to spend inaugural weekend than talking about how to kick Trump's ass? Some of the people invited include George Soros, Tom Steyer, Donald Sussman, and this is basically they're in total denial of why they lost. They think, well, we should just throw more money in these big super PACs in order to put out liberal initiatives and get more of their candidates in office. They're totally delusional still as to why and how they lost so badly, not just in the presidential race, but they were supposed to make much more significant gains in both chambers of Congress last week, and they failed. They could not take back control of the Senate, which honestly did not look like it would be that difficult for them, but they couldn't even take out, in a blue-leaning state like Wisconsin, a conservative senator like Ron Johnson. They couldn't pick up an Indiana Senate seat with somebody who's already been there, Evan Bayh. They couldn't take out Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. They are weakened. They couldn't make bigger gains in the House. They couldn't make more gains in governor seats. They lost governor seats. So they're really trying to figure it out. How is it that they continue to lose? And they just think the answer is, let's just build bigger relationships with the deep pocket guys, go to Palm Beach and see how many more tens of millions of dollars we can blow. Which to me is very interesting. The other stuff that he owns aside from Media Matters, Brock owns the super PAC American Bridge that does Oppo research, the legal watchdog Crew, which is kind of like the liberal version of Judicial Watch, except Judicial Watch is much more heavily funded than Crew and much more effective using Freedom of Information Acts. And now the left continues its total and continual meltdown over Steve Bannon, a guy who's just going to be a simple advisor in the Trump White House, saying that he's this nationalist guy or whatever, based upon people like Milo Yiannopoulos, who've published articles on the website that he ran, which was Breitbart. He's the CEO of, and somehow, he's just this terrible guy because there's people who, publish these articles with clickbait titles to grab people's attention. Alan Dershowitz, a liberal lawyer from Harvard, he pointed this out the other day that the hard left is actually very anti-Semitic, and Keith Ellison, this Bernie-backed liberal guy from Minnesota who's looking to be the new chair of the DNC, he himself, he's over there lecturing people about Bannon and the alt-right and all of this other garbage we keep hearing from pretty much every Democratic politician in the aftermath of the election who just want to make a fuss about everything. But Dershowitz correctly points out that Keith Ellison himself has a lot of left-wingers who follow him. The kinds of people on college campuses who are not friendly about Jewish people, Christian people, people who support the state of Israel. So this is kind of the ongoing fight. It's just an ongoing cry fest. So I was telling some Democrats the other day, I said, listen, if you're going to cry about every little thing that Trump is doing a week after he won the election, such as who he's appointing to be his counsel, and he hasn't even made any real cabinet appointments yet. We haven't even gotten to those yet, but they're already all up in arms. The senators, the congressmen, the other leaders of the party, they're already up in arms about some guy who ran a website, Breitbart. That's just the beginning. They're going to get even more hysterical. They're going to lose sight. They just think we're just going to continue to win with people if we just constantly talk about how we need to abolish the Electoral College, which is complete stupidity. And on top of that, let's just talk about how everybody is racist, sexist, homophobe, Islamophobe, bigot, this, that, phobe. And maybe they can win back their voters in Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Iowa by talking like that. States that Obama won twice, yet they somehow failed to win after all the money being thrown in 2016, and a candidate they thought they were running against who was so flawed